Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to episode 565, the Council on Future Conflicts. My name is Scott. I'm the proprietor of the Future Conflict channel, and we're continuing to talk about the coming storm with Charlie Kirk. I mean, let's be honest. Like, I was watching the news over the weekend, and I saw some things happening, but even like, what was it? Almost a declaration of war or some such like that by the president of Venezuela couldn't even scratch the news headlines this weekend. Joe, did you even see that?
Yeah, I saw the whole exchange. It began as us attacking a ship with missiles and Marines to, yeah, maybe we boarded a ship to make sure it wasn't selling drug or transporting drugs.
Tricks or drugs, yeah, right.
And when I saw it, everyone's like, "This ship, these Marines seized the ship." I'm like, "That looks like a VBSS, and that's something we do every day throughout the world." It was not that bad. So.
I heard it was a tuna ship, and to that I say, the Marines are having fish tacos. You know this is true. Come on.
I was, you said, Jim, what do you think?
I think those laws have been on the books for a long time, so no shocker. More of this. Right. The difficulty is if the Chinese start interdicting stuff coming and going out of Taipei or other areas in North Asia or the Philippines, then we're kind of driving them and making it. We're normalizing it again.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if anybody tries to take this further, and whether it's the Trump administration or the Maduro regime. I doubt. I'll be honest with you. I don't know that China wants to really stir anything up per se. I think they'd love to keep their conflict kind of on everybody's back burner until they're ready to make it the front burner.
Yeah. I don't know if we begin to put a lot of pressure on Venezuela and Panama, they may feel emboldened.
Yeah, I think Panama is their no-go line.
I honestly believe that their go line is widespread civil disorder and conflict within the U.S. And yes. Boy, are they ever close to it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably true. I will say, weirdly, just as a fun thought exercise, that if we did have a way to ensure that China would either jump on the bandwagon or contribute enough resources to be severely weakened by it, that might actually be a decent play, right? I mean, make them fight somewhere where they're ill-equipped to fight, since they're almost entirely set up to fight around the first island chain.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that that's their sole and exclusive focus, because they actually have troops engaged all over the world and through peacekeeping ops.
Yeah,
that enables them to fight elsewhere.
Very true. I'm more talking about like they would have an unbelievable bugger of a time fighting over here logistically. None of their Navy ships are really designed to make sails like that, and they don't really have refueling fleets like we do.
Well, and let's be honest. Would they really do the fighting over here, or would they let somebody else do the fighting over here?
Yeah. But my hope then would be like, hey, dump a bunch of your shit on Venezuela so we can, blow up a bunch of Venezuelan sailors in your boats.
Well, anyway, like I said, the point of that was that things are going on in the world, yet here we are talking about Charlie Kirk and the internal workings in the U.S. Because let's be honest, if we're going to have conflict in the world, I would rather it stay out of the U.S. And if it happens in the U.S., we're all in a worse situation. Guys, you've all seen conflict up close and personal, and we all know it's basically it's no good. It's lose-lose when it happens. Especially for the regular people. So that's the thing that I think all of us want to avoid. So I think we're going to be kind of talking about so what happened, how are people responding, and then what comes next when it comes to the responses of governments and political movements in the U.S. And then we're also going to tack in almost kind of like an add-on. I want to talk about the U.K. Today as well. So we've
As
got
the
that.
Venezuelans would say, "Es no bueno."
Es no bueno.
You know what I did see that was not in our notes anywhere, and that members of our chat brought up, is the IED found on the Fox vehicle over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought about putting that in, like maybe as just an odds and end or something like that. I mean, what was your guys' take on that? I didn't see much else about it. It kind of like got buried in my feed.
Yeah, you know why I got buried in your feed? Because their names are Adib Nasir and Ahmed Nasir. That's why it got buried and hidden and didn't come out. The marriage.
I thought they were both white. Remember, they reported that they were Caucasian on there.
White Utah men named Adib and Ahmed. As Matt pointed out on Twitter this morning, the marriage of Muslim ideology and Neo-Marxism is something you really need to pay attention to. Marxists like using Muslim ideology because it gives them committed fighters. And that's what we end up with here. They attempted to detonate, I believe it was actually an improvised incendiary device underneath the Fox News live truck. And they got seen doing it. Then they went and searched their home, found a whole bunch more explosives, guns, and drugs. Interesting. That's all that I will say.
Well, and hold on, let's point this out too. In Magna, Utah, not that far from where the Charlie Kirk thing just happened, like legitimately less than 100 miles.
Well, yeah, that's why it was there, is because they were there covering that. I want to point out too that over the weekend there was a call put out for a bunch of people to join the Trans Army. To me, that was a Chinese set-up operation, 100%, in an attempt to further fan the flames of insurgency inside the U.S. So,
you know what? As long as we're here, I got one more that's actually related. And this happened before Charlie Kirk, not that far before Charlie Kirk. Hold on, let me pull him up one more time. But there was actually another IED planted that the guy got arrested, and the story went away. In Idaho.
Watch your volume is drifting again.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is this better?
Yes.
So yeah, I need to find the story again because I just had it up and I don't know what I did with the tab. Damn it! But actually, another guy got arrested for planting an IED near train tracks in Payson, Idaho, or Payton, Idaho, or yeah. I'm gonna
Watch your volume dropped off again. I don't know what's going on over there, but.
Watcher, I took it off of automatic and put it on like 150.
Okay.
So,
all right,
it sounds okay now.
Okay, all right, cool. Like I was saying, I'm trying to find it right now, but there actually was another IED, not that far before Charlie, like maybe a week before what happened to Charlie, that just didn't seem like that big a deal. But in Payton, Idaho. The guy was arrested for planting an IED near the train tracks, trying to blow up the train or derail the train.
Which is a well-known and publicized Antifa tactic.
Yep. That's 100% in their kind of method.
Here we go. Sorry, I got the name wrong. It's Payette, Idaho.
Well, when you look at the website, it's going down, which is sometimes up and sometimes down. Maybe that's why the website's called It's Going Down. It is also they have publicized several times instructions on how to do that and how that's a valid tactic. And that one comes just a couple weeks after they had the big meeting, and the girl from the University of Michigan was saying, "Hey, we need to disrupt the supply chain to stop the supply of Israel and war materials." So.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? I don't know I don't know if these are connected. You know, what I think is that once you kind of break a seal for a particular kind of extreme event, then all the people who were kind of thinking about something like that are like, oh, well, you can do that? Okay, well, and that's the reason why you get the copycat, event after a big event like Charlie Kirk. And then it's not just assassinations; it's people who are going to do any number of disruptive and violent things.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see what else that's not necessarily connected, but it's like, hey, if they can do that, then why can't we do something, similar?
These things keep disappearing from the timeline because they're not convenient to the narrative. They don't want you to realize that you are in an active insurgency. And I know Jim is sick of hearing me say that because I say it every other day, but it's true. You are.
Omega Lloyd, I don't know. X is up for me.
Yeah, I went back and forth this morning with Matt because the harmonization of what are new neo-Marxist movements in the United States and the Middle Eastern Hamas Salafist kind of world, it goes way back. It isn't new. The Red Army faction, the IRA, everybody cooperated with the PLO and the Middle Eastern kind of brotherhoods.
I was going to say it's mostly the Muslim Brotherhood offshoots out of the late 60s.
Yeah, the
that really kind of weaponized that ideology.
Yeah, the Ikhwan al-Muslimin, and the logic of it was that the Russians were putting a lot of money in, and so it was already pre-existent. They had the networks, they had the training facilities, and so that was a lot of the way that weapons came into Europe. Granted, the IRA got a lot of weapons out of Boston and New York, but the movements themselves and the money flows. There's historically a lot of support between these anti-government movements. And so here in the U.S., I think a lot of the pressure that you're seeing on the cells in the field here in the U.S. is coming from the fact that they know the DOJ and other entities are coming to the cities that they were spawned in, Chicago, New York, in some cases, San Francisco and L.A. But the movements are under pressure, and the cities that are their kind of base of operations are being tagged, right? And what's interesting is that the crime rate in these major cities is being tagged. So places like Memphis that haven't been on the map for a long time are back on the map from the standpoint of enforcement.
Yeah.
And there's just this universal desire now to go out and map these organizations. And so I think it's the first time it's been done with alacrity. They mapped the hell out of the conservative movement and tried to figure out where our activists / dangerous people were. And boy, they screwed that up because they had a bunch of people making data up. I mean, back to the Catholics in Richmond being putting the nation at risk, right? I mean, the absurdity of what was done by the FBI in those days and Homeland is just off the charts. And so I think that Patel and Bongino are going to be very cautious as they do this, but I think they're going to break these networks down. And I think they're, for the first time, not just going to watch them. I think they're going to sweep them up. And it'll be interesting to watch who they get in the nets.
How are we going to do that with tools that have been fully infiltrated? I mean, that's how they went after the parents and the Catholics, and like I have yet to see hey, we're going to purge our own ranks before we do this. They have promoted people since they've got into office that were the very people who were going after J6ers.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some infighting, but from what I'm seeing and hearing, I think it's underway. It's a slow process because these government employees have embedded themselves and protected themselves so well legally. It's nearly impossible to get rid of them unless you have serious malfeasance. I mean, if you look at the people who get arrested as guys in the Bureau, they're not doing life, right? the folks who break the law in the bureau get a slap on the wrist and their pension, and then they're sent away with a year of kind of walking around with a bracelet on. I mean, they've got to begin policing themselves more aggressively, and I think Bongino and them understand that. Let's see if they can be effective. You know me, I remain hopeful, Watcher, but I haven't seen the movement either.
Yeah, no, I worry that we have this one last chance at anything that even vaguely resembles a good ending, and I have pretty big fear that the people who are actually in positions to make things happen are squandering it.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I think there's only so much you can do if radical transparency isn't applied, that either A is able to not be subordinated by people within the machine, or B, that essentially anybody on the outside would trust, right? It's like, listen, if Kash Patel walked away and said, hey, we're going to do this, and then he came back 2 weeks later and said, okay, we've done this and we're going to start making arrests, would any of us believe him? The answer is no.
It'd have to be radically transparent.
Even if he did the perfect job behind the scenes and did what he said he did, we're not going to believe them until literally hundreds of people start getting rolled. I mean, it would have to be thousands of people, because there are thousands of members of these, radical left-wing organizations that regularly call for the death of people. So,
let's be honest. We've known for quite a while too that the three-letter agencies are essentially the mid-level of Antifa.
I'm sorry, I'm off track here. I'm going to pull up the first one, guys. So now we know who did this, right? I don't even think it's like unsure, right? It sounds like with a very amazing amount of certainty that you can have, like this guy absolutely did it. Joe, I mean, just from a law enforcement standpoint, is there anything that potentially casts any shadow of a doubt on this guy as a
There's no doubt, because apparently the surveillance team that was put on him as soon as word came in it could have been him, saw him literally in the same clothes. So, which is weird, because he wore the clothes to the scene, changed them back to go home, and then was seen in them again the next day. The whole thing is a little bit weird, but I don't doubt that he did it. The law enforcement question is, who else? And from a law enforcement perspective, what I cannot square is why the transgender roommate is not in custody at this time. Admittedly, got messages from his roommate saying, hey, I hit a gun, I need you to go get it, and did not immediately disclose that fact to law enforcement.
Yep.
So
makes him an accomplice.
Misprision of felony is a crime. Knowing about it and not reporting it, that's a problem. And normally I wouldn't care, except if we're out here and we're trying to fully investigate this murder, this guy needs to be in custody. They didn't even take his phone in the beginning. They took screenshots of his phone.
I mean, they're living in the same place. Is that not sheltering a fleeing felon?
I don't believe he went back there to the house. I believe he went somewhere else. He was picked up at his parents' house.
Yeah, he ended up going to his parents' house, because I think he was basically on the run, and that's when I guess he confessed to his dad, and
people saw the pictures, and then his dad brought him over and confronted him about it, and then he confessed.
Okay. So anyway, he confessed to his dad, and then the dad said, "Hey," he said, "I would rather kill myself than turn myself in." And the dad says, "Hey, why don't we get your youth pastor to come by, who happened to be like a marshal or something
bishop.
Like that?"
It's a bishop.
Well, no. Like, I mean, like, isn't he a law enforcement guy as well?
Sure, yeah, but I mean, pastor is not the correct word. It'd be a bishop.
Chaplain.
And what?
Bishop. Yeah, bishop, because it was in the Mormon church. Yeah.
Anyway, so so that guy comes over, and basically that guy calls law enforcement before he even comes over. And so they pretty much rolled him up, like at that point.
So much for the sanctity of the sacraments, right?
Well, yeah, LDS confession doesn't ever have a no one's gonna tell on you thing.
I think it's just personal counseling with a church buddy, right?
Well, it's not a church buddy; it's your church leader, and it's not necessarily personal counseling. There's a lot of religious. But yeah, there's never like, we don't do the whole seal of confessional thing. Like, if you're confessing to a crime, your bishop is will tell you before you go in that he's a mandatory reporter.
Watcher. Step back. I was not maligning the Mormon church.
I didn't think you were.
Maligning the law enforcement agency.
Oh, no, you're fine. I didn't think you were. I was just explaining to people that, like, it's different than the Catholic. That's all.
All right. So anyway, so that's how I understand it to have occurred. And so here's the thing. There was a lot of mess about him being, oh, this is a conservative family. He's a Trump supporter.
They're still trying that to this day.
I know. But what this really shows is the power of brainwashing that is going on. And like, let's be honest, this kid didn't get brainwashed the minute he stepped into a college dorm or apartment, whatever. He'd been brainwashed probably for years on the internet in kind of private, in spaces that his dad wasn't monitoring, that he would get on. Oh, I'm just on my phone looking at Instagram reels, Dad.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
And then, so all this stuff is in his head. He can't act on it because, he's got a conservative family who has standards. And so once he gets away from the nest, he's able to act on all these kind of things that he's been fantasizing about for God knows how long.
Well, so fun thing we found out. So he got this big scholarship that was supposed to be a 4-year scholarship. He went to University of Utah for a single semester and failed out immediately, lost his scholarship, and I think he actually just was not allowed to continue after that point.
Probably because he was too enamored with the gross lifestyle that he got involved in.
Yes, I think that's exactly what I was pointing out, is that I think that's a perfect indication of what you're talking about. Although there's a secondary side of this, which is that he then went home, and now he's living like halfway at home and halfway with this other person. I just want to point out that nobody did him any favors by continuing to keep him around and support him.
Yeah. So my understanding that this is I don't like breathe and eat this stuff. So if I get a little bit of it wrong, tell me. But my understanding is essentially his mother was not, like, once he kind of comes out to his parents that he is like living a life that's a little different than them, the mother is like not having it. But the dad was trying to be supportive and to, basically trying to maintain the relationship with his son, despite the fact that he disagrees with the choices. That's my understanding. And like, so his roommate / boyfriend, I don't know the entirety of that relationship, is also gay and trans. Was there any evidence that this Tyler kid was trans at all?
No,
I just heard he was gay.
The partner of a trans person. He's gay. Also, though, I should add, do not assume this was a monogamous relationship, as Elle and multiple other people are finding out. This was a big, sick, twisted.
Can I say something here that's going to upset you both?
What?
Doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant. The fact is, he's a leftist who wanted to kill right-wing people. Everyone wants to argue this trans thing. That's not relevant. The relevancy is leftism and violent leftism.
I completely agree with you. However, I would say just like, okay, let me give you an example.
We're going to spend our entire show arguing this point for no reason.
Well, I mean, in fairness,
okay, I can't answer then, I guess.
Yeah, you made a declarative thing that says that the thing that we were talking about is not worth talking about, and we just disagree. I mean, that's okay, you know. So let Watcher at least explain why he disagrees, and then we'll move on.
Okay, so much like just about any other thing, this is very simple, and I'll be quick with it. Just like Elle pointed out in another post, she found a band that basically all of this weird twisted polycule and most of their trans friends are into. Does that mean the band has anything to do with it? No, but it does provide us a very interesting tool to start leveraging and searching and figuring out and breaking down these networks and figuring out who they are, because these weird niche communities all tend to stick together.
As I told someone earlier, the fact that they're shooting at you will tell you which box to put them in. The pine one.
I think the interesting thing to understand are the networks here, right? You know, in the old kind of like insurgency days in Iraq, and you know, you always have this exploit the network, attack the network kind of mission, right? Whereas like you have like one or two bad guys who actually blow you up, but then there's this connected web of people that enable those two shooters to do all the problems, right? And so I think it's important for people to understand if they're interacting with the network, right? And some of the signs are pride flags. Some of the signs are furry things. Some of the signs are trans stuff. And I think it's kind of like in Islam, right? You've got degrees of radicalization. Like a gay man with a gay flag does not necessarily mean he's a terrorist, right? But if you see somebody with a trans flag, that's like several degrees of additional more commitment that not only puts them in a different mental state, but also a different political kind of box, if you ask me. Now, you're absolutely correct. Once they declare themselves to be an enemy, it doesn't matter why they did it. It's just that then they become an enemy, and you treat them the same as any enemy. So
it's just camouflage and an irrelevancy to get you to argue about points that don't matter, rather than paying attention to the larger leftist regime that is entirely calling for your death, whether they're trans or not. It's getting you to focus on this one little group, thinking they're the threat, when you have a much larger aperture you need to be looking at. Widen the aperture and look at the entire threat. That's all I'm saying.
That's I'm never going to argue with that.
Yeah. So what's happened?
I agree with that.
So what's happened in the United States is the small groups of useful idiots, to put it in KGB terms, have been identified, and they've been put off on their mission. They're going to get consumed by the revolutionaries go forward. They're a spent force at this point.
Yeah.
And they were designed as such. They are, identify the fringe, feed the fringe, and then turn the fringe on itself, and they become your shock troops. And everybody gets wrapped around the fact that the gay community / trans community / these crazy people who are killing people are the core issue. And I'm back to what Joe was saying. It's about the Chicago School of Marxism that Obama mainstreamed back into the United States.
Yeah, they're really only using these guys as the cannon fodder because, let's be honest, in 90% of the cases, they were going to self-delete anyway. So they're easier to radicalize. It's just like Muslim suicide bombers, right? They pick on the weakest mental link, send them forward. But there's still an army behind them. And I think that we need to be looking at the rest of that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And Joe, the much more dangerous people are not the crazy out there trannies and things like this. The much more dangerous people are the ones that look just like you and me, and maybe even are smart and cagey enough not to share their opinions.
They're the ones providing the targeting. They're making the phone call and saying, "Hey, you know what? My neighbor has a "We Are All Charlie Kirk" flag in their front yard, and then 10 minutes later, 15 Antifa guys are on your front yard.
You know
That's
what?
exactly right.
You know what?
Yeah.
Now that you brought it up, let's point this out, shall we? Because that literally just happened. Colorado family puts a memorial along their fence to honor Charlie Kirk. Someone came and smashed their car window and burned the memorial down. Hold on, this doesn't have sound. Let me share it with sound.
Charlie was unspeakable, you know. Everyone is destroyed over this.
So Michael and his family created a memorial along their fence to honor the slain CEO of Turning Point USA. But late Saturday night, vandals lit the display on fire.
When they burnt that fence, that fire could have went into that house and it could have really harmed somebody.
It's the rhetoric. It's what people are being fed. There's so much hate in this world, and we need to stop.
The vandals also broke the back window of the family's SUV. Neighbors have rushed to provide them with support.
I saw the damage that had done to my friend, and it ruined me.
When we quit communicating with each other, when we stopped the dialogue, and we didn't, then we just dehumanized each other.
The family spent time repainting the memorial. Now they send this message to all in the community, regardless of anyone's political affiliation.
What happened to Charlie was...
Yeah.
Can I say they couldn't find a more stereotypical group to represent the Charlie Kirk supporters?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it is Western Colorado, so.
This is actually a good kind of transition to the response.
Well, I want to point out, though, that if you had armed overwatch over your memorial, none of this happens.
Yeah. Florida to investigate teachers found celebrating Charlie Kirk assassination. Florida Department of Education has announced that. Go ahead.
Looks like our friend's got a drop.
All right.
Hey, Jim, thanks for being here, buddy.
Being here, brother.
You guys be good.
The only way I know how to be.
That's
We'll
it.
try.
Thanks,
I see
boys.
your request, and we will comply.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let me continue on here. Commissioner Komatats sent a letter to the school district superintendents telling them that he would be investigating after it was brought to his attention that some educators had posted despicable comments on social media regarding the horrific assassination of Charlie Kirk. These few are not a reflection of the great high quality teachers who make up the vast majority of Florida educators. I bet that opinion, though, is shared by the vast majority of your Florida educators that might just be smart enough not to tell you what they think.
Yes. If a teacher has graduated from the Teachers College in the last decade, they are either a radical Marxist or someone who can put up with that in order to get a low-paying job.
Yeah.
Well, mostly because I know a guy who was a college professor in the last decade, and he is about the most based guy I know, and his name is Matt, and you all know him. So
yeah. No, there are plenty of good people who are coming through good programs that are able to kind of avoid it. But let's be honest, let's call it 80% of the teachers that come out have some ideological alignment with the neo-Marxist left through the teaching, teaching colleges. And I think that's a safe bet. It could be a lot more, but I'm just willing to kind of go with that without further evidence. That's just my thoughts.
Safe assumption. Yeah.
Yeah. It says here let's see. Although educators have First Amendment rights, these rights do not extend without limit to their professional duties. An educator's personal views that are made public may undermine the trust that students and families that they serve. Yeah, 100%. Like, there's no fucking way in hell if I found out that my kid is like an elementary school teacher that is teaching my kid has got posts that are just, and you guys have all seen the abhorrent stuff that's out there. One of these posts, there's no way in hell I'd let them go back into that class. I'd hold them out of school until they replace that teacher or put that teacher on some sort of a suspension. Teachers are to be held to a higher standard as public service and must ensure that their conduct does not undermine the trust of their students. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
No, I was just agreeing with you. That's all.
Oh, okay. Let's say glorifying violence or harm that violates blue sky community guidelines. So this is the interesting thing. We're actually going to, I think this is actually a great segue to.
That's the funniest joke I've ever heard.
I know, right? Hold on a second. I want to go. Can you go to Don's post?
Yeah. Hold on.
Because this is the perfect. I mean, talk about terms of services and the things that are being allowed to be said on these. I mean, so what does the lawsuit from Charlie Kirk's widow look like?
Oh, it's
because you could draw a fucking straight line from that to this video you're getting ready to see.
Well, the moment that somebody explains to her that she gets to use a lot of the, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this has been heart-touching to me, how many just unbelievably wealthy people have reached out and created multi-million-dollar trusts for both his widow and his kids. It's unbelievable.
Because believe it or not, Charlie Kirk was not a super rich guy. He probably had, a decent nest egg, but he put a lot of his money back into Turning Point. So he was not what you'd call wealthy.
But as soon as she realizes that, like, she's got enough money to A, be comfortable, and then B, use this in order to take down some Marxists, and that there's a lot of attorneys that would probably be willing to work, not pro bono, but probably at cost, it's going to be on. Sorry, let me give you the sound.
Yeah, this is a post from Don. Hold on.
Go ahead. Muting it now. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it says this is from End Wokeness. This is who just wrote a piece on New York Times on political violence, and this is Don quoting, "Oh no, they get fired. We should unite them instead of." Or you just?
Oh, sorry. I thought you had it open.
Yeah, I was reading it. Yeah. Instead of getting them fired, shut up, miss me with your cowardice. Go ahead.
So this is just one of hours of Hassan doing this.
Kill them. Kill those motherfuckers and murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
How is this not?
Oh, look, that guy's not just not banned from Twitch. That guy gets millions of dollars in promotion from Twitch.
So not only could she basically drain his bank accounts over this, because you can draw a straight line from him saying that to Charlie Kirk being killed, then you can also probably own a majority share of Twitch or Kick or whatever these fucking streaming platforms that now refuse to remove their content and to deplatform them.
Did you pull up that screen grab again?
This one, sure.
What's over his left shoulder?
Well, let's open that up, shall we?
Yeah, I didn't see what that was.
See, it's Tifa handbook.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So just find that interesting.
Well, I mean, so this is literally him having an Al Qaeda like flag in the background or whatever of his cave.
Okay, so we're here now. I wish I had Mitch's post up right now, but I think we're at like 286 days since Trump has been president. Whatever it is, Antifa has yet to be labeled a terrorist organization. That could have been done on day one with zero authorization, with literally nobody saying anything about it.
Just in case you're just not convinced by that video, let's go to the next one underneath Don's post. It says this is a next post that says Twitch is corrupt. Oh yeah, you got it. Okay.
Sorry, it's given me an issue with being able to pause it. There we go.
That's right. All right. Twitch is corrupt and needs immediate action. Twitch must ban Hassan. Yes, Twitch must ban Hassan, but she must sue the fuck out of both of them.
Yes. Here we go.
I want Turning Point to own Twitch when this is all over with.
Ooh.
I'm sick and tired of it. Left wingers,
a platform for debate.
Liberals, you need to be fucking showing your opponent's guts on there, okay? You need to be gutting them. You need to be shanking these motherfuckers and letting their intestines just ride on stage. Slice them up. Slice them and fucking dice them. What the fuck is this? Letting their intestines just ride on stage. Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers in a video game. Sorry. Holy shit. Murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
Yeah, Amazon owned, by the way.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. Kill Rick Scott.
I'm gonna kill you with my AR-15. Like that's the type of messages they were leaving in this dude's office, and he's resigning. Like he's literally, this is his last term. You actually wrote about this, and it was a great video where you talked about, someone has to do it. See, when I say that, everyone knows exactly what I mean. Which is, I think
everybody knows what I mean.
There is a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, and untapped potential, untapped revolutionary potential, as a matter of fact.
Not a gamer himself, Clancy mostly watches musicians or talk shows on Twitch. He particularly enjoys leftist political commentator Hassan Piker, who has 2.5 million followers on the platform. I like the frankness and the bluntness, Clancy said. He's comfortable saying what he believes.
Clancy literally came out to wish this dude and sing this dude happy birthday.
Someone has to do it. See, when I say that, everyone knows exactly what I mean.
Yeah, let's be clear, not just from Twitch either. Like, Hassan needs to be permanently deplatformed from everywhere.
Hassan needs to be banned from the breathing of oxygen.
I mean, that's correct, but as we don't yet have a charge on that. Although I will say,
here's the problem. They're killing our side. Hassan Piker will be one of the first that somebody takes out in retaliation.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's going to happen. But let me point out, when he made his comment about revolutionaries on stage, it is a crime to advocate for the overthrow of the United States government.
Right. And that's exactly what revolutionary action is.
So, look, and these guys haven't even brought it up yet, but this guy literally brought on a Houthi terrorist and elicited donations for him on his Twitch stream. This is... the number of ways this guy should have been rolled up, it's just unbelievable.
And by the way, I just want to clarify. Joe's not saying that somebody should kill this guy. So Joe is saying the reality that after somebody killed Charlie Kirk, then somebody out there in the ether will probably say, "Well, I'm just not going to take this anymore," and Hassan would be one of the first people that they would go after.
Yeah, let me be clear. I'm never going to advocate for anyone else to kill people. I will do my killing myself.
Yeah, I'm on the same bandwagon, man. Like,
this is just what happens when you own a crystal ball and you look into it and see the future, because it's not that hard to predict.
It really is not that hard to predict. The words he's saying are going to incite someone. And listen, if that someone is watching, don't do it. And if you do, don't tell anyone about it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Probably the favorite clip that's going around is that whole, what everybody's group chats look like right now. So make sure you let your neighbors know that you're going home, right? Yeah. Oh, they keep phone records. Maybe you make some calls right around 10 p.m. What I don't even know what movie that's from, but it's a good one.
All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, so let's go to the second post. Not that one. You've gone all the way down. So let's go back up under the Florida to investigate teachers. The next one. It's an expo. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have seen this. So this is if you guys follow Charlie Kirk, you'll know that not too long ago he was in the Oxford Union and he also went to Cambridge. And so this is that. This is from that. This is Oxford Union's new president, and he calls the right cancers that must be taken out by any means. If you want to play the video.
Disregarded dreadlocks.
Yeah. Right. Well. Before we play this, I just want to remind you before you listen to this that he literally debated this guy on stage not a month ago.
To effectively create change in the world we desire. Inside Prop will argue that at times there is simply nothing else that can be required other than violent retaliation. And this is a view I wholeheartedly agree with. The view that some institutions are too broken, too regressive, too oppressive to be reformed. Like cancers of our society, they must and they should be taken down by any means necessary. To effectively create change in the world we desire. Inside Prop will argue that at times there is simply nothing else that can be.
Yeah. So,
thank you, Sideshow Bob, for your appearance. Next.
So this is not just crazy, purple-haired land whales that are protesting in the streets of Portland, right? This is, people wearing tuxedos in the halls of power in Cambridge or in Oxford. So if it's going on there, it's going on in every one of those halls of power in the United States, and it's
Marcus,
business leaders.
I accept no responsibility for Marcus.
Come on, brother.
First one is on the G Camp, Marcus. Well done.
If you want to see, by the way, if you want to see Charlie in prime form, recently the Oxford Union is that was good content.
Oh,
he literally went. He just dismantled every one of their arguments.
Well, and particularly that complete dipshit who essentially just said, "Yeah, it was good to kill him." That guy got utterly embarrassed.
T-Rex and crypto travels for $19.99. Thank you very much. There is one positive thing to come out of all this. I went to church for the first time in 10 years on Sunday. People at church who said it was the most attended service in years. Best way to honor Charlie, in my opinion. God is good. Yeah, 100%.
I would bet that attendance on Sunday was very similar to it was on the Sunday after 9/11. Probably the best single day church attendance. And that's the best way to honor Charlie, 100%.
I would make the argument that actually the best way would be to keep going.
Well, that's true. Yeah. But what was actually cool was seeing all of the guys from the gun side of Twitter or the right wing Twitter that we're all on saying, man, I went back for the first time in years and it felt so amazing. I'll be back next week. And that's pretty cool. By the way, if any of you come to the Swan Valley Chapel this week, you'll see me. And we serve lunch afterwards. So it's pretty darn cool.
That's a good deal. That's a good deal. Oh, my God. Somebody, go ahead, watcher, go back to that. Somebody, it makes so much sense. And then now go down in the comments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's see. I mean, that's true.
That necklace he's wearing.
Oh, the comments of this, I see.
Yeah, keep on going. Keep on going. I love how the algorithm Oh, there we go. So, I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm pretty sure if you did a deep dive on the necklace he's wearing, it's going to be associated with Black Hebrew Israelite ideology.
Hey, that could have been Barack Obama's son, man. Come on.
Yeah.
I thought Trayvon Martin could be Barack Obama's son. Isn't that what was the guy's name that got shot back in the day?
The point of that is that it could have been any of them.
All right. You meaning that no matter how rich or powerful Barack Obama is, his son still kills people for some strange reason. You're right. That could be you.
I mean, yes, also, but actually, weirdly, it seems that the families, the ones that are richer, seem to get more violent more quick. But no, I was actually more referring to it doesn't matter who it is, where they're from, or anything. As long as they're black, they'll say the same things. That could have been my son, and then rally around them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because all they see is skin color. They don't see anything else.
Marcus, great point. I also heard a lot of people decided to find another church after theirs failed to address Charlie's assassination and current state of affairs. I said this on Sunday morning early before anyone went to church. I said, if you go to church today and they're talking about peace and reconciliation today, that's not a Christian church. Those are not values. In order to be reconciled with someone, they have to want you to reconcile with them. The other side does not. And turning the other cheek, you have to read the full context of that chapter. It was turn the other cheek, and if they continue, turn your back on them and have nothing more to do with them. This meek, not meek. Meek's the wrong word because it's misapplied by the Christian church. This doormat Christian church, Jesus is my boyfriend thing, is absolutely ridiculous. That's not true Christian belief.
Agreed.
Yeah, Joe, I mean, it kind of goes back to the days of liberation theology, right? That was specifically a Catholic push, out of the Central and South America, but it quickly infiltrated Protestant, denominations in America. And so you've got literally Neo-Marxist infiltrated Christian organizations all throughout the United States. And I'll be honest with you, I saw it firsthand working for the Presbyterian Church, because the thing that I always thought was so bizarre was, why is the church doing X when the people in the pews, literally the people who vote for the things, had wanted nothing to do with like a lot of their kind of social programs and things like this. And I was just, wow, you guys are like way out of touch.
There's a difference between real churches and not real churches. So if your church has a all are welcome here sign out front and it's in rainbow colors, that's not true. They're welcome, but they have to change their behavior. Jesus called for that. And if your pastor doesn't say things like mine did in Detroit, it was a mega church, but it was a fantastic one, North First Church. Pastor Brad came out and said at the beginning of Pride Month, like 3 years ago, because this is all I'm going to say on the topic. In Genesis, it said God created them man and woman. There was no other option. And if your church doesn't say things like that, then you're not going to a real, actual church. You're going to a social program.
Yeah. What Charlie, kind of taking it back to Charlie, he had this great interaction with a gay kid who basically said, hey, I'm conservative, but I'm gay. And basically he said, listen, you got to understand that you being gay is not who you are. You being gay is just one of your behaviors in life. Right. He's like, listen, I have bad behaviors in my life too, that I have to resist the temptation and not do the behavior, because I feel that the behavior that I did in the past was sinful and I don't do that anymore. And he said, sexuality is just like this. It may be a temptation, but it's just a temptation that you recognize as being harmful, and you pray, for forgiveness and salvation. And through the power of Jesus Christ, you're able to kind of away from me, get temptation away.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe not killing people every day, that's a temptation, and he doesn't kill people every day. So,
not every day. All right. You know what? Militant Roots, I'm glad to hear that he mentioned Judges 6. So let me clarify a point to everyone. If your pastor, preacher, priest, or whatever said to you, vengeance is mine, said the Lord, remember, he works through people. And when Gideon said, yeah, man, but can't you just miracle us out? He said, yeah, I am. I'm sending you to go and do the work. So you are his instrument. Remember that.
Just slid across my desk confirmation of an earlier story that I had. The FBI is now confirming that they're looking into at least 7 accounts that posted to have foreknowledge that are all connected to either the shooter or his boyfriend. Hey, guess what that is?
That's
fucking
a
conspiracy.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So let's go on with this. All right. So this Momo from FEMA.
Oh God.
Now, so here's the thing. This guy is not as gross as some of the people I've seen online, but this is the kind of, hey, we're just going to talk about it in private. I would never say this stuff in public, or I would,
I'll remind you, though, that this is literally supposed to be a date, right? So
right. Let's go ahead.
Charlie Kirk assassination. It's also like it's tough not.
No, hold on. Go back. Look at the smile on his face. Watch.
Have you spoken to anybody about the great Charlie Kirk assassination? It's also like it's tough not to laugh at this stuff. You know what I mean? Like he's.
How is that not
kind of deserves it in his own way.
So how does FEMA feel about?
You could tell that he would say more, but he's feeling the waters out to see if she's on that side of the fence or not.
Feel about Charlie Kirk getting shot?
Everybody's kind of laugh. I don't know. See, the people that are in charge of this
he
place
keeps
are, like,
catching himself
now.
Fox News reported that FEMA has put an official on leave from their department who stated online that Charlie Kirk was a racist, homophobic misogynist. Now, O'Keefe Media has a new expose on another FEMA official, and what he says about Charlie Kirk shocks the conscience.
I mean, listen, Charlie Kirk getting shot is crazy. Did you know who that was beforehand? The Charlie Kirk guy? He's a nut. He's awful.
On the night of Charlie Kirk's death, one of our journalists met with a section chief within FEMA named Sean C. Kelly for dinner in D.C. Sean Kelly works in USERA. There's a lot of acronyms in the federal government. That's the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act section of FEMA. We didn't know that existed. In that section, they protect military reserve personnel to make sure they're taken care of during deployment for FEMA. In the first couple minutes of that meeting, the FEMA section chief started to indulge immediately about the murder of Kirk and said into the hidden camera that Charlie, quote, deserves it in his own way. And it's, quote, tough not to laugh at this stuff.
Have you spoken to anybody about the great Charlie Kirk assassination?
No, just my friends.
I mean, it's tough not to laugh at this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, political violence is not fun. Don't get me wrong, but how funny, what he's a lunatic and awful and kind of deserves it in his own way. If you disagree, that's totally fine.
No.
Great meme. What's not to love? Yeah, I am become meme. All that sort of shit.
The official at FEMA was asked how the entire FEMA department felt about Charlie Kirk, and he stated in his own words, quote, everybody's kind of laughing.
So how does FEMA feel about Charlie Kirk getting shot?
Everybody's kind of laugh. I don't know. The people that are in charge of this place are dipshits. Now, I don't know how the actual leadership feels, but the rank and file are, I don't know, not concerned. I don't know. It's very strange. I don't know. There's not I don't think there's a ton of empathy for the guy.
Strip FEMA for parts.
Let me tell you, and Laserham nailed what I'm about to say. He didn't say political violence was wrong or abhorrent. Not fun. He said it was not fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of necessary things in life, like brushing your teeth, that are not fun, but you have to do them every day.
Yeah.
So that guy is a real serious threat.
Yeah, I'll come back after we're done with this.
T-Rex and Crypto Travels for 1999 says, I'm curious. There seems to be debate. Do you think Kirk was wearing body armor? At least a slim heart plate. Supposed source say Erica wanted Charlie to wear armor 24/7, but he was a fan of stealthy armor. I'm a novice. Yeah, Joe, you want to address that?
Yeah, without revealing confidences, I can say with 100% certainty Charlie Kirk was wearing armor. And if you watch the video, you can see the armor plate move. So, yeah, he was wearing armor. We generally require all of these conservative speakers at an outdoor venue to wear body armor. And we've had, I almost said the name, one conservative person wear it on inside speaking engagements as well, including stage shows. So, yes, yeah, he was wearing some.
Now, Joe, just for people who have no knowledge on body armor, right? So, can you just kind of break down when you're going low profile, what does that entail? What are the capabilities of just kind of more generic kind of setups?
most people, when they think of body armor, they think of old school body armor that was pretty thick. But right now, with some ceramics and aramid and things like that, we can get plates that are very, very low profile and very slim. Like mine, when I've got my soft armor and my plates in, it's thinner than what original plates were, or plates a lot of people buy now.
Yeah.
First of all, everyone's asking in the chat where the plate is. There's only one place that plates go, and that's over your chest, over your heart, over your vital organs, covering right in here. There is some debate as to whether or not the round hit the plate and traveled up. I'm going to bet that's the case based upon where the shot came from. Most likely, when you wear curved plates, there's always a risk of the round striking a plate. And when rounds strike hard objects, they tend to travel parallel up them. So when it hit there, it does appear to me as though it went up and into his throat. I don't believe the guy was aiming where he hit. And I believe the way that the canopy was structured versus where he was at, it was probably a upper thoracic hit that bounced off the corner of the plate and into him.
It didn't look like here. This is like where you tip. When you think of jugular, you think of like right here, right? Like it didn't look like it was there. It looks like it was more like here. Like
here,
and
top
then of the t-shirt.
A fragment or ricochet popped up and actually caused the hit. So there it is. Plates are not magic. And in all honesty, that round probably, if it had a direct head-on hit, probably would have went right through, likely even level 4 plates. But
30-06 is pretty punchy, even more so than 308. So
yeah. So
go ahead.
Yes, he was wearing them, and it did bounce up. And in my opinion, I haven't seen any crime scene reporting, but it just looked like it to me watching the video frame by frame. If you watch it frame by frame, you see the whole plate bounce, and it would only bounce when it gets hit. So
as long as we're here, I watched one more similar thing, which was a surgeon that was trying to determine whether Charlie, due to the injuries, tried to determine whether Charlie likely knew what happened or felt any pain.
Oh, I bet he was just by the amount of blood that was coming out, and before he hit the ground, he was probably completely unconscious.
Actually, according to the surgeon, within what was it? Within less than 1/100 of a second, he was unconscious and would not have even realized something happened.
No, Tord, I think it was the gun he had access to. I don't think he chose that on purpose. I think it's what he was able to get his hands on because it was Dad's, and Dad might have left it with him for hunting or whatever.
Is that proven that it was the father's rifle?
No, I'm just taking that as a guess. Because if he had bought it specifically for this event, we would know by now.
Yeah.
Right? The trace would have come out. So,
unless it was a local purchase type deal or something like that, but yeah, I think the one thing is I haven't heard anything about where the gun came from. So
a lot of people are talking about drop it 200 yards is on a 308. There is it's none. It's none.
Trajectory at 200.
Yeah, here's the thing. It was either aiming for the head or aiming for center of mass, because his miss either way was a breathing miss. Right and left is generally trigger jerk. Up and down is usually breathing. So.
Yep.
All right. So Crockpot. An old sporterized Mauser. You're not wrong. This is a $200 max gun. And I didn't see the optics, so I'm just going to guess it's a generic, like 20 power scope or something.
And what do you think about scope placement? Well, look, the guy's not Jason Bourne, okay?
Yeah.
And I don't have to have a perfect scope placement to score a hit at 200. I do at 6 to 8, but at 2 to 4.
You got to
like. I'll make another statement. There's a bunch of people who've been like, "There's no way that scope is too far back. I'll punch him in the eye." No, that depends on where his cheek weld is. It's a huge stock, and people shoot in all kinds of weird fucking ways.
Don't forget he was prone as well, so any of a number of variations could have prevented it.
I want to catch up over in Rumble here real quick. Squishy Hunter gifted 1 sub. Thank you very much. This is before the show even began. Low Key Larp coming in for the 5 gifted subs at the beginning of the show as well. And then let's see, we have a super chat over in Rumble. Squishy Hunter for $5 says, when the Lord calls you to act, he has already accounted for your profound mental retardation. Get to it.
I'd like to go back real quick before we move on.
And one more. We got one more. Redoubt Ranch gifted 5 subs to Future Conflict.
Oh.
Thank you, brother.
Well, I might not get to go back to it. Well, we'll see when he resolves. Let me see if I can get it real quick. I think it was Squishy in the chat said that he felt bad for turning in people that he knew that were celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. And to that, I have a post, and it ties into something Joe said before we went into the armor discussion. You cannot live with these people anymore. Your children are not safe among their children. Their children are literally being taught to celebrate your murder and the murder of your children. You are not safe in your workplace. If they will not kill you themselves, they will submit you to radical networks for them to handle you. This is it. There's no 2 ways about this shit.
Hey, Blaine, welcome.
Hello.
How you doing, brother?
I'm all right. How are you guys?
Oh man, this has been a wild week. It was wild before Charlie, and it's been wild since Charlie. So, not in a good way.
Well, I got to see Stephen King have some angst over cancellation. So I got to be honest with you. You take your victory lap where you can.
Yeah.
And Jodi Picoult was the worst. Jesus, Pete.
I will say though, in regards to Stephen King thing, before we move past it, how much do you think it galls him to have Mel Gibson credibly publicly lecturing?
It had to hurt. And what's great is his movie bombed over the weekend.
Watcher, can you pull that up real quick since Blaine brought it up?
Sure.
Fine. But while you do that, let me get this. Lance Corporal Veteran for $5 says, if you think leftists are bad in FEMA, it's bad or worse nationwide in most federal institutions, including the janitors. Well, I'll be honest with you. I happen to know somebody who works at a federal institution, and it was actually pretty good in that federal institution by all reports. I'll just leave it at that. So it was pleasantly surprised as was the way it was described. All right, let's pull this up here, Watcher.
Oh, do you mean his walk of shame, or do you mean the post that provoked it?
Well, I mean, let's see. The one he's advocating stoning gays to death. Just saying. And then he, I guess, posts here. I believe marriage is one man, one woman. Also, gay people should be welcome to the conservative movement. As Christians, we're called to love one another. I will always stand against people who wish to establish their own personal values. Okay, and then
and I wish I'd have known this was coming, because there's a very, very, very good segment that he had with a kid on mic that basically came up and said, how can you allow these gay people into the conservative movement? And he goes on like a 5-minute, not just a chastisement, but like a full-on, like leads him through the whole thing. Like, are you a Donald Trump supporter? Yes. Do you want gays out of the movement? Yes. Then you're not a fucking Donald Trump supporter. Actually,
you're not. Honest. Stephen King didn't make these statements because he wanted to. He made them because his publicist said, if you ever want to sell a book or a movie ticket again, you need to back up.
Yeah, these people buy your books.
Multiple different large movie studios have come out and said that they will no longer be doing business with Stephen King again.
No, he screwed the pooch, because you can't unring the bell. And what he did, which was the dumbest thing, was try to apologize his way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't understand that on the internet, no one buys into that. They just can't.
Yeah. By the way, a little love for Blaine right there and Blue Dawn.
Yeah, thank you.
Saw your old interview with Razor, Win, and Shiroi. Because of them, I finally read Blue Dawn, and I am hooked on the series. Yeah. Blue Dawn is absolutely peak political thriller right there.
Can I just say, what a time to be discovering Blue Dawn for the first time. I wish that I could reread it for the first time again right now.
Especially as AOC was trying to backtrack her comments, right?
Well, she's setting herself up for the starring role that Blaine has cast her in.
Yeah,
so
she's setting herself up perfectly for it.
She's worried that it kicking off too soon might queer the deal. Lance Corporal Veteran for $10 says Sanctuary City is going to take a new meaning if they're already acting up over illegal immigrants. How much more will they act up when they have to start harboring violent insurgents? Let's be honest. If Antifa gets the terror designation and Antifa goes underground, let me tell you that they will be rooted out, stem and root, no matter where they hide, because that becomes a very federal problem, and the states can't do shit about it. All right. Yeah. Oh, hey, Blaine, you got this post, your latest on American Thinker.
Yeah.
You kind of want to talk people through it. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. You want to talk people through your piece?
I kind of do, because I think it's pertinent. I got a lot of calls this weekend for people to cancel people on the left. And, I really had to do some deep soul searching. And the first couple hours, I was like, oh, that's bad. Because I've been through it.
Yeah.
We've been taking the high road all along when it comes to these things. And the thing is, I've kind of flipped on it and said, yeah, we need to start canceling the left. When they do these things, we need to go after their jobs, and we need to ruin their lives a little bit, because it's the only way they're going to understand what they've done. They changed the rules of this game. They changed the rules on us when they started all these cancellations. And we've always kept taking the high road. Every time somebody on the left said something crazy, we'd yell about it, but there wasn't this move to actually cancel these people. But I got to be honest with you, Charlie Kirk's greatest gift has been I made these people overreact, and now we know where they're at. Angela Spangberger's got 2 people on her staff that posted nasty stuff about Charlie Kirk, and she hasn't removed them, nor has she said, hey, I'm distancing myself from these people. So I think Charlie Kirk's going to deliver, honestly. He has a good chance of delivering Virginia to another red governor, which rarely happens. We usually go red, blue, red, blue. I have a feeling this is going to bite them, and I think it's going to be the same as Trump being shot. It's going to solidly bring up the midterms. But in terms of these individuals who come out and say these terrible things, yeah, cancel them. I'm in that camp now, and I didn't want to be. I wanted to be the bigger man, but I got to be honest with you. It's the only way they're going to understand the wrong thing.
Well,
you okay there, Watcher?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to raise my foot and kicked my water over. I appreciate that, Blaine, but if I may ease your mind for just a moment, let me make a very clear distinction. Being fired for supporting terrorism is not cancel culture. It's not even consequence culture. It is literally legally required. OSHA will not allow you to employ someone who glorifies terrorism when they create a violent problem in the workplace. Insurances will not carry a company if they know that you carry someone who is glorifying violence. If you are a medical provider, you are going to lose every single malpractice lawsuit that is ever brought against you again, because the magic word that only need be said is, I'm afraid he looked at my social media posts and that's why he did it.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. I don't want to get too caught up in the definitions, because that's where we always lose each other and fragment.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we've just got to go, look, if these people are speaking out, they've got to go. And it happened in my grandson's school. They had a teacher that came out and posted the quote by Mark Twain about reading obituaries and how it pleases them sometimes. And that person's been suspended and is under,
should be
threat
fired.
of being fired at this point. And I think this is now where we're at. And the left is reeling from it. They're like, whoa, 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 you're all overreacting. And it's like, oh, no. I went through this shit, and I go through it every day. There isn't a week that goes by online that somebody doesn't call me a Nazi, a homophobe, a transphobe, a fascist. I'm so many things that I'm not. It's not funny. These people need to feel the same pain. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Blaine, the thing that's particularly, before you push play on this, I want to just kind of make this point, Watcher. The thing that I think, and I thought of you very shortly after this happened, because it wasn't long before I was like, okay, maybe was this a trans shooter? Because the thing that kind of initially kind of pushed me in that direction was what they were talking about when he was shot. It was almost like they were listening and waiting, and they knew that eventually he'd bring up trans shootings or something like that. And the person wanted to shoot him during that. And you, Blaine, have had your own run-in with a person of, well, let's be honest, mentally challenged person who didn't know which bathroom to go pee-pee in. And I was like, this could easily happen to anybody who is pissed off one of these people.
My wife was not pleased that I posted anything about this. She's very upset because she's like, these people are crazy and they may come for you. And I said, this is nothing new. They are out there, and they believe so much in whatever their little fantasy world is that they live in, that they are willing to come after us. And the war has been declared, and I said it in Blue Dawn. It's a lot like the 9/11 Commission report. When you read that report, the opening of the report says, fundamental Islam had been at war with the United States for years. It took the downing of the two towers for us to realize that we were truly at war. And that's what we're facing here. And these people have declared war on us, and they've made it very clear. They like us dead. It's not, we want to fight. We're no longer the loyal opposition. We're no longer somebody that they want to collaborate with and find common ground. The common ground they want is the ground over us when they bury us.
Correct.
Well, you said radical Islam. Let me correct you. The goal of moderate Islam is radical Islam. So Islam is at war with you. But yes, you're right, and that's what it took, and that's what this took. I've been telling everybody the war is at left with you. They're like, well, no, we're not. We're going to take the high road. The high road is how you got here. The high road brought you to this point. It's time to stop at the high road. And all weekend long, I've had people telling me, "Oh, you need to dial it back. We need to be the adults in the room." Nope. Being the adult in the room is what got us to where we are today. You can't be the adult in the room when they're shooting at you. It's that simple.
Yeah. When they are shooting at you, the high road is how you skylight yourself and get killed.
And let me be honest. They hit Charlie Kirk, but they're shooting at you.
Yes. What this man said is right.
Yeah.
This is, and Charlie is a martyr at this point, and we haven't seen this since the days of RFK and Martin Luther King, honestly. And having gone through cancellation, and I saw a lot of people going, "Hey, let's cancel these people." I was amazed at the number of conservatives who are like, "Let's not stoop to their level." Dude, they're trying to kill us.
Yeah. Now, if somebody is legitimately scared, I could maybe understand it, right? But these people aren't scared; they're just kind of timid. They're worried about what people will think of them. That's what they're really worried about. They're not worried about like, well, is somebody going to kill me if I say something? Because if that were true, then I at least I understand it, right? But the problem is they're not worried about that. They're worried entirely about like what people will think of them.
And I think we got to pick our battles. I don't know if firing the copy person in Portage, Michigan at the Office Depot who refused to print signs, is that where we got to go? But honestly, that's a decision everybody else needs to make. I'll pick the battles I'm going to fight. You need to pick the battles you're willing to fight. And if it's that person, then so be it.
I think a lot of people are saying specifically...
Stop trying to make this a Jew thing. Please stop.
Oh yeah, no. Hey, can we go back?
Violence
Because
is
I was
bad
gonna.
enough. Can we just stop with the
Yeah.
it was Israel stuff? Knock it off.
Yeah, I was gonna bring this up earlier because it's the exact same the same shit we were talking about with the drive to like separate the gay people and make it all their problem. It's literally it all comes from the exact same place as the it was the Jews.
Yeah, I've declined like 10 invitations to Israel. Seriously, to come and train in Krav Maga. They haven't killed me yet. Sorry. They don't
Also, you know what?
You refuse to go to Israel. I'm sorry.
Look, you know what? I'm going to do this in the style of our own show. I'm not just going to call you dumb because fine, right? Hey guys, I am a self-interested country called Israel. I depend on most of my aid for my survival, both politically and physically, to come from a stable U.S., which is only able to provide that aid when it is active on the world stage. If America goes into a civil war, which is the very, very, very predictable outcome of a leftist murdering Charlie Kirk on national television, what happens to that support for Israel?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it was interesting. My grandson, I asked him what kids at school were saying, and the line that's been propagated to the children through TikTok is very much, but what about the children in Gaza? A lot of people die in Gaza every day, and nobody says anything. So there's a big push to make this bigger than it is, or to use logical fallacies like that to go, but what about the bigger crime that's going on? That has nothing to do with what happened to Charlie. That's irrelevant. But that's the crap that's out there on TikTok. That's the crap that they're seeing.
The Israelis do enough nonsense on their own that you can blame them for. We don't need to blame them for everything, and don't give them more credit than they deserve, right? You make them into the masterminds of everything. Knock it off. It's silly.
Look, remember how we said that they take groups that they know will be easy to hate for large groups of people, and that they can control the people who hate the people who will hate those people. Gee, it's almost like they're using the Jewish identity the same way they're using the LGBT identity, isn't it? Yeah. Dumb fucks.
This wasn't an LGBT thing. This was a nut job. This guy was going to do this. And I resent the fact that the left is trying to paint him very much as, oh, well, he's conservative. He's MAGA. No, he's not. And if you haven't seen my article on American Thinker, please take a look at it. Read through it. If you agree with it, like it, send it to your friends, because this is something that's out there right now that people are having a big debate about in the conservative realm. Do we take a stand now or not?
Here, let me make sure we got that. It should be in the chat, everybody. Let me get over to Rumble and put it there too.
I didn't mean to come in and derail things, guys.
No, you're not derailing at all.
This is exactly what we were talking about. So,
you want this clip?
Martial law,
So
it's not going to be declared, y'all. Stop it.
There is firings happen on the other side too, right? And so this is a nurse who basically listened to a doctor saying in front of a group of people, "Hey, what a terrible person Charlie Kirk was." Blah blah blah. I'm glad he's dead. I don't know exactly what he said. And everybody was just kind of looking at him and didn't say anything. And she spoke up and she got fired. So let's listen.
All right.
Are you fired?
No, I'm not fired as of right now. Right now, I am suspended, indefinitely unpaid.
Why?
So I walked into the nurse's station and I just had learned about Charlie Kirk. I saw this guy. I didn't know who he was at the time, and he was standing there celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, saying how he deserved it, he hated Charlie Kirk, and he had it coming to him. And
so you love Charlie Kirk. You didn't just were aware of him.
I loved.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Charlie Kirk. My first retweet in 2018 it was like my first blue checkmark retweet was Charlie Kirk. I was a couple years out of college and loved him ever since.
You're aghast at this, and what'd you say?
So I looked down at his badge because I didn't know, what what job, if he was a doctor or a nurse, a
Never saw him
tech,
before.
never saw him before. I look down, I see his badge and it says doctor. And I said, you're a doctor? I said, how are you saying this as a doctor that someone deserved to die? I mean, to me, I was just mind blown.
First, do no harm.
Yeah, I mean, and so basically, and he, I guess he dressed her down, and then she was, they pulled her into administration later in the day, and she was put on suspended or whatever. I'll be honest with you, I think this girl should own the hospital by the time it's all over with. I think I think lawyers are going to be an effective tool for a lot of this. But there are going to be other people that are involved in all this that lawyers aren't an effective tool for, and you're just going to have to use other tools for that.
Well, if she said it the way that she did, I believe her case is that she was intervening for the health of the patient and trying to keep the doctor focused, and he wanted to make it political. And she's got a pretty solid lawsuit there.
Yeah.
Well, lawfare is one of the ways they've decided to wage this war. They set the rules. So I say game on. It's just like the cancellation thing. They've set the rules of the game. Then we play by those rules.
The anti-Christian Liberty Union is nowhere to be found on any of this, just so you know.
Oh, they will be out in force trying to defend these other people.
Oh, 100%. Oh, we have to defend even the most disgusting things that people say. T-Rex and Crypto Travels, 999. By the way, thank you very much. You've been very generous in the show so far. Do y'all actually believe the center leftists who say this drove them to leave the Democratic Party and never vote for them again? I kind of think it's virtue signaling. I guess, well, here's the thing. I think the people who are saying that were already on the fence, and they were already disgusted by some things that were going on. And let's be honest, we all know, like, level-headed people who voted Democrat for most of their lives, who have been just absolutely appalled by things. And some of it started during Trump's first term. Some of it happened during Biden's term, because I've heard stories like people said, like, listen, I voted for Biden. I didn't vote for Trump. And then after I voted for Trump, and so.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree and say this is performative, because it's just like all the people like Chuck Schumer saying, oh, political violence is wrong, when he's on video telling people they need to get in the streets and punch people in the face. So
yeah,
I believe it's performative.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer was the guy calling to go up and confront the Supreme Court justices, bring the fight to them, which led, by the way, to an assassination plot against Kavanaugh.
The assassination plot that they would love for you to forget, when the man got out of the car in front of a U.S. Marshal with a gun in his hand. I mean, wow.
Phil Coggins for $10 says, I think the person who did this is the same kind of person who 10 years ago we would have been asking how he went from being a normal kid to being the star of an ISIS video deleting infidels.
Yeah, look, I want to point this out too, because like a lot of people have been yelling and screaming something that I don't agree with. They've been saying, oh, so this is because of social media. No, you know about it because of social media. This shit would have happened and it would have been swept under the rug, and you would have not understood that these people are mentally deranged and trying to kill you. All social media did is wake you up to them being able to speak and you being able to access it in a searchable database format.
And that's the one benefit to it, because if it wasn't for social media, they would have sold you that this was a MAGA terrorist.
The one point I will take with that is that people like him 40 years ago may have just led a pretty normal, quiet life and maybe gotten into weird stuff, but nobody would ever know about it. But I think social media is exposing people to things they never, and this is not just people like this. This is all the weird shit that people run into, and everybody, you guys all know what I'm talking about. The fact that we all saw in like vivid 4K what it looks like when Charlie Kirk gets shot in public. Within an hour of it happening, it just shows you how different the world is because of social media. So yes, there is an impact, but I think the much greater impact is exactly how you articulated, Watcher. Right. Let's see. We saw FEMA. We saw Don's. Okay, let's look into the military aspect of this. This is a post from a guy a lot of us enjoy following on X. This is Snake Eater 36. Word to the wise or unwise. Folks got soldiers shit canned for speaking their minds on COVID or refusing the jab. Mill Twitter is melting down over Charlie Kirk. If you think getting removed from service because you made a comment, keep this in mind. UCMJ is subjective. Your command can ascertain whether or not what you are saying is in keeping in good standards. Good keeping of standards. Intonation of violence or otherwise is also subjective. Crying about civilian leaders making a decision that you disagree with is what comes with the territory. Grow the fuck up, shut the fuck up, do your fucking job, or get the fuck out of the military. And so to that end, he's retweeting a post that says, this guy locked, but he's obviously security risk to himself and others. Get this lunatic out of the military. And this is an EOD guy saying, I'm not going to lie, saying how eager conservatives are to see my blood in the streets, all because of some unhinged lunatic killed a podcaster, is rather radicalizing me against them. Anyways, I was just making fun of improvised explosive charges today at the range.
So if I remember this one correctly, we actually investigated him, and he wishes he was EOD, but he's actually never gone through the training for it. He just hangs out with EOD guys.
That's entirely possible. Cron said it best on the day after the shooting when he said, listen, we're not asking you to mourn for Charlie Kirk. We are asking you to be a human being and just shut your mouth about it, rather than gloating and celebrating the murder of a man on national television and asking you to be a decent human being. Is that too much? That's true. Yes. You can say whatever you want and feel however you want. You don't have to put it out for the public for everyone to see.
Joe, the best example of this is what happened is how Trump responded to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because he found out from the media on the tarmac either getting onto or coming off of Air Force One that Ruth Bader Ginsburg had died. And he gave the most elegant and, classy response, basically, sorry to hear that she had died, and said some really nice things about her, and kept it classy, and
I'll be honest. While I despised her views, she was a trailblazer and a warrior and a modern hero for young girls wanting to grow up and do something with their lives other than cook and clean in the kitchen. I have no problem with that. And while I believe she had been dead a long time when the announcement was made, I never once wished death upon her. And that's the difference between the right and the left. When they say someone has cancer, we say, oh man, that's too bad. I'm going to pray for you. They say, good, I hope they die. Big difference.
So there have been a couple people who have died that I thought were really miserable people. And the one thing that I did, it's like, listen, I may have some thoughts that I wasn't proud of at the moment, but the one thing I never did was vocalize it to the internet, much less even people that I was close to in the world. It's just having hateful thoughts is not healthy for you mentally. And, just kind of resisting the temptation to do something that is wrong is probably the best course of action.
I would like to point out what the next step of this is, because it doesn't stop with Charlie Kirk. Because as soon as we start declaring these as radical institutions, guess what else we're going to start? Well, actually, we've already started going through all of your social media posts in the military for. Do you have any Antifa affiliation or posts in support of Antifa action or literally anything that you made over the last 5 years?
I mean, their shit might be tight now, but you go back 5 years into their X feed and what are they posting?
Hey, do you think that those of us that you drove off of social media for documenting Antifa stuff ever stopped and didn't continuously build databases on all your posts when you thought you were safe over the last 4 years?
I don't know. Yeah, I look at this and I just think that it's a real shame what's happened, and they've made it worse. They went out of their way to make it worse, and it was done deliberately. It was bad enough that we were all feeling the hurt and pain from this, but they went out of their way to make things worse. And then they don't understand when we strike back.
Yeah. Well, and they don't think we have a valid reason to.
I should know the answer to this question, but I don't. Does the SF-86 still ask you if you ever advocated for the violent overthrow of the United States government?
It does.
Huh. Boy, there's an easy way to get rid of a whole lot of officers right now. Because there are many who have online.
Well, hey, and wouldn't that not only just not be a discharge, that one would absolutely be quite a long Leavenworth sentence, because that is literally treason.
Well, it's advocating the overthrow of the U.S. government. Not quite treason, but it's close. Treason would be actually trying. Advocating is still a felony, though.
I'm sure we can toss in some material support and help tie the case together.
Yeah, but it would actually require an actual open combat to be treason.
I see.
So, two rare sightings, a pro-Trump rally in Huntington Beach, which is part of LA, and the Patriot Front materialized out of nowhere to, say his name, Charlie Kirk.
So
hey, if these guys show up at your vigil.
When I said yesterday, these guys showed up with perfect timing. A bunch of their supporters came at me saying, "Oh, you're calling them feds." Don't get me wrong. I didn't call them feds. They're National Socialists, which to me is worse than being a fed. I want nothing to do with National Socialists.
Yeah.
What's the second word of National Socialist?
Yeah, you guys are literally just another flavor of the left. You might cling on to our stuff because it makes you popular in our circles, but it's no more than what the left does when they take names like Antifa and pretend that they're the descendants of a World War II thing that was made to fight both communists and fucking fascists.
Here's the interesting thing about the Patriot Front, right? The Patriot Front is essentially a much smarter version of the neo-Nazis from the 80s and the 90s. It's like they saw this is a perfect example, like this symbol on their American flag,
Ohio
right?
State flag? Yeah.
The what?
The Ohio State flag. Compare the Ohio State flag to that flag. They are almost identical.
Let's see.
It's true, by the way.
Clay and I did this on a podcast, and Clay was like, "Oh my God, dude, you're right."
All right.
They're not real.
Which is why, they're not real.
Yeah, Ohio. You can't check a flag that doesn't exist, Joe.
But my point is, it is just like the Ohio State flag.
But the point is these guys got smart in the intervening years after getting their asses kicked and sued out of oblivion during the the Christian Identity days, back when they were getting into fistfights on the Geraldo Rivera show and things like that. Mm-hmm. What was the name of those guys? It was like a family that was like just Metzger. It was like the Metzgers, right? I think that was the name of the really famous guy. That guy was such a fucking anyway. So you've got this new outgrowth, and they're smart. They're smart because if you put Nazi, if you say Nazi, if you do anything like that, then you're going to lose almost everybody who might be potentially interested in your nationalist idea, your National Socialist idea, and So I mean, it's. And is it also funded by the feds? Probably more of I would say WEF kind of is probably where the checks get cut from.
Let's be honest.
But hey,
even we need to stop using the word Nazi. We do. Like the word, it's beyond all meaning now. It's a nothingism. Like there's no point in saying it.
It doesn't mean anything except for the World War I or World War II reference.
That person.
Oh yeah, no, hold on. Yeah, there's a person who's getting permabanned.
I took care of it.
Forever.
Squishy honey will blame write a PF Glowy character from Blue Dawn.
I don't mess with those guys. They're nothing. They're
So
just
if you
voices.
have any doubts about them, go to their website, read their manifesto. And if you don't come away understanding that it is the National Socialist Workers' Party, I can't help you.
Yeah, that's right.
And everything they talk about advocates socialism, but just for people of European descent. So it's still socialism. That's not right wing at all.
All right, so let's get into the final kind of thing I wanted to talk about today. No, so I forgot about this one. Yeah. So, what do people want to happen to people? Well, righteous retribution gets it with 90%. Joe, what's your take on the poll? I think I already know, but I'll let you articulate.
I think that this is the way Americans are feeling. I agree with this 100%. Keep in mind, it's Kurt Schlichter followers, so they were already leaning that way. But you can only be punched in the face so many times before you say, "Okay, it's now time to fight."
Yeah. I think there's a lot of truth to that.
I think this is going to spill into the midterms. I think this is as big as Trump being shot in many respects.
I think it's bigger. I think that because Trump wasn't actually killed, it lessened it, because then it could just be laughed off.
Here's the interesting thing. Can you imagine now having, in hindsight, with Charlie Kirk's killing, what it would have been like if Trump had actually been killed? I mean, I think we had a civil war. I honestly do. I think that it's that big. And this is, let's be honest, Charlie Kirk is I think one of the reasons why he was so impactful is because he was anointed in a way. He was very, he gave off that kind of Christian, a good Christian American man kind of vibe. And so, there's something special about him. But like with Trump, I mean, let's be honest, people like literally have invested their entire future and lives into that man. I don't agree with it because he's just a politician. He's an earthly leader. But that doesn't mean people haven't already done it.
Well, I think the part that's very interesting too, and they're talking now, they want to allocate tens of millions of dollars more for security for members of Congress. Their first reaction after whipping all of this hate and vitriol up and leading to this is, well, who's going to protect us?
Quick, add more guards to the ivory tower.
Yeah, it's absolutely madness. It's like, you guys created this situation. Now you're worried that you might be a victim. How did you think this was going to play out?
Yeah, especially when they were the ones calling for it. And let's be honest, if you're a left-wing member of Congress, you're pretty safe. I don't think you have much to worry about, or at least you didn't have much to worry about until this happened. This next story here, White House plans security boosts on civil terrorism fears as FBI investigates revolutionary leftist groups in Kirk assassination. So they're talking about, the Trump administration is talking about civil terrorism, right? And they've requested an extra $58 million in security funding for the executive and judicial branches. Interesting enough, legislative branches need not apply. But that's
no. That was my favorite part of this. Is he was like, "Well, I think they should do it for themselves too, but as they're the ones making the rules, I'll let them figure that out."
Yeah. Classic Trump. So here's the threat landscape. Joe, I'll be curious to get your kill list risks. Kirk's assassination should be interpreted by American first leaders and thought leaders as potential beginning of a sequential campaign of targeted political violence. The message is obvious. Revolutionary armed Marxist radicals won't stop at Kirk. Overnight federal response. The FBI disclosed, as per Axios, the agents have opened investigation into leftist groups believed to have had prior knowledge of the attack. No names were released, but admission marks a significant concern amongst investigators. Hence, White House moved to request $58 million in additional security. And then finally, organized conspiracy and Kirk assassination. This is what you were talking about earlier, Watcher. GPS-based research flagged by analysts suggests as many. I know, but still, as many as a dozen co-conspirators may have been. It's a broken clock. Raising the odds of a coordinated network rather than a lone wolf.
I could call myself an analyst and point just like another analyst did and point at the most obvious data on the planet and say, see, I was right. I mean, literally anyone could have said this, but sure.
Let's be honest. The only reason that guy gets the audience he has is because he's got the audience he has. He just has numbers behind him.
Breaking related to the current topic. Kash Patel confirms Charlie Kirk assassination at a text exchange with another individual stating he had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and he was going to do it, confirming that outside persons or groups had knowledge of the plan ahead of time. Would you like me to play the clip?
Yeah, go ahead.
His family has collectively told investigators that he subscribed to left-wing ideology, and even more so in these last couple of years. And he had a text message exchange, he the suspect, with another individual, in which he claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and he was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for. Those are factually accurate investigatory findings by the FBI that we've handed over to the local authorities and the federal authorities to make their prosecutorial decisions. But I believe in this instance of such public importance, the public has a right to know. And I've told you I'm committed to transparency, and that's what I'm doing here today.
Why didn't that person that he was talking to, why didn't that person say something?
Our investigation is ongoing. That's a great question, and we don't have an answer on that just yet. His family,
obviously.
If you remember, if you've watched the movie Patriot Day, they ended up prosecuting his roommates and stuff because they knew of the explosives, tried to hide them, things along those lines. They'll go at these people, and I think that's legitimate to do so.
Yeah, no, it makes you a co-conspirator. This isn't like somebody trying to do a vendetta. That's literally the definition of it. You knew about the plot, you didn't turn them in, you're immediately a co-conspirator.
Well, I'd like to know what the guy's reply was. If his reply was LOL, he is an accessory before the fact. Right?
Yeah.
If his reply is anything but no, bro, and I'm telling the FBI, he's an accessory.
Yeah, the only other potential is that I never saw that, and I didn't respond to it. Okay, well, we don't believe you, but
modern technology is great. They can tell when you saw the text message.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they'd be able to see. The other thing that I think is interesting here is that you get a group of people, and that is different than a one guy telling his roommate before he goes to do something. Right, that becomes a support network. That becomes a terror cell, and that makes the jump to, basically labeling specific and generalized groups. By the way, you can do that. Like the Barbary Pirates weren't like a single group. It was a kind of a generalized category of groups. You can literally say like Antifa groups in America are now terror organizations. And then they have the ability to broadly define what they mean by Antifa groups.
Jacob Castro says, I thought he was just joking defense. But then when Charlie Kirk was shot, you did not immediately pick up the phone and dial 911 and report that text message, you've now committed misprision of a felony. So,
yeah, his buddy just says, I was just waiting for him to say in Minecraft. All right. T-Rex and Crypto travels for $9.99. He looks at a deer. It looks like a deer in headlights, not conspiracy. I'm saying he looks worried. I believe I saw he's hauled in front of Congress. He's going to get grilled for prematurely saying he got the guy. Oh, you're talking about Kash Patel.
Yeah, Kash was way over his head. His job was way more than he thought it was going to be. And aside from the fact that he did a 180 on his feelings about the FBI after they let him play with their cool guy tools and probably showed him the video they had amassed on him, he's not what we signed up for.
Yeah, dude. Here's the deal, man. Like, he got rolled. Well, I don't know what they told him, But whatever they told him, he continuously promoted the people who were the fucking... Like, there were obviously subversives all throughout, right? Probably a majority of agents, if I was going to guess, right? At this point, because they've had so many years to cement themselves. And instead of taking out the guys who were like the obvious, we have public records, we know that they are compromised, he promotes them. He promoted all of them. Like, I'm beyond furious with this person. I don't think that he was a plant to begin with. I don't. I think that there's a pattern here. There's so many government officials that come in saying they're going to reform things that very, very quickly, if not instantly, the day they're sworn in, suddenly are not. And I don't think that's because they were all controlled before they got in. I think there's something after that.
What's the same thing that happened with Mike Johnson, right? He was all against the national security apparatus and against the Patriot Act. They called him in for a private meeting, and all of a sudden his attitude changed. That's because they didn't show him things from the Middle East. They showed him things from his own online history and convinced him that it was time to become a partner.
Right.
I believe we missed one from Lance Corporal Veteran, too, for $2.
Is it over on... is it on Rumble?
YouTube?
There he is. Yes. Lance Corporal for $2. Are we at John Brown 1850s timeline events? Joe, I seem to remember somebody.
Are we? Yeah. I did a whole video of this over on Locals where I compared the current moment we are living in to Bleeding Kansas. And man, we are exactly there. And this would be the equivalent of John Brown's sons. That's why there's a song about that. When they went into the town and killed and beheaded all of the men in the town. We are very much on the John Brown Bleeding Kansas timeline right now.
Yeah.
But my point is that I made over on Locals is Bleeding Kansas took 10 years because news traveled so slowly. Word of the John Brown Sons massacre took a week or so to get out. Then it took a month for right-wing militias to arrive in the area, then another month for left-wing militias. Then they'd fight a battle, then 2 more months would go by as people would move around. Information moves much, much faster now. You're going to be on a much shorter timeline between Bleeding Kansas and full war.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have an interesting question for the council here, too, because we were bandying this about on our way back from the gym this morning. He stopped cooperating with law enforcement. So Tyler has decided he's not going to talk. He's lawyered up. So my question is, when he does his defense, is it going to be, hey, am I going to plead guilty? I'll plead guilty, but you don't kill me type thing?
No.
Or is it going to be, no, I'm innocent and I was driven to this by all these people? And does that mean people like AOC and all these people who whipped people up into this frenzy could find themselves in a courtroom having to explain their tweets, their posts, their speeches? Which way do you guys think it's going to go?
I believe he's going to go with a mental health defense. And that's why his lawyer told him to shut up, because he was being coherent and making sense. And he wants him to not be coherent and make sense. Right. He was going to go with an insanity defense. I was pushed to this because of Charlie Kirk's hate against transgenders, and people kept telling me that they were a threat to me and wanted me dead. So here I am. Or I was defending the person I love, whatever. But that's why they've had him shut up. I think you're 100% spot on there.
I'm going to third option. I think he's going to go the Luigi Mangione defense. I think a lot of these guys are. I think they think that they're revolutionaries through and through. I think he's going to ignore his lawyer's advice. I think that's why he's being silent now. I think when you put him in a courtroom, he's going to start basically giving this as a manifesto. I think he's going to do exactly what Luigi's done so far.
You know, I mean, for me, I think he's gonna go for the mental health defense. You know, like Joe said. But I think what they're going to find out very quickly is that because of all the cooperation he did and all the information they got off of his cell phone, I think because, you know, Joe, that's the problem. He cooperated, then he stopped cooperating. So everything that they had from before he lawyered up is completely admissible. And he basically will have told the story.
Yeah,
his dad will
sailed as far as the "I didn't do it" defense. He has to go with insanity at this point,
or a plea deal that basically guarantees that he doesn't die.
I don't see them. I don't see them.
Yeah, I see that. I really do, because I remember the Unabomber. The Unabomber, it was the only hope he had was an insanity defense, and he didn't want to be labeled as insane. You know,
Yeah,
he refused to accept the insanity defense.
I think this when he asks his lawyer, "Can I? Is you know?"
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well,
He's not
can
going
they
to have
still
a stand
kill me?
for insanity.
Can they still kill me if I do an insanity defense? And the lawyer says, "Yeah." If they don't believe you, they can give you the death penalty. Then I think the kid will fold like a cheap suit.
I'm sure the kid's going to get the death penalty, whether or not it's imposed by the court.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's factual, but I'll say this as well. I mean, from the way things are sounded, I've heard people argue with me about this. This is a national interest case. Do you honestly believe that the Trump administration, who, from what everybody is saying inside of the Trump family, viewed Charlie Kirk as a fourth son? Do you not think that the full weight of everything is going to get pushed for this kid to get killed regardless of what he tries to plead? I don't think that's on the table. I don't think taking the death penalty off is on the table. Why do they need him to plead to anything? They have him dead to rights in his own words.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think this dude's going to make it past the first court appearance before he commits suicide.
Well, as long as we're there, let's talk about that. So the turtle
Where's
suit
Hillary? Does anybody know where Hillary is?
Well, so the turtle suit that he's in indicates that he's on suicide watch now. That normally only happens when a inmate makes a direct statement to an officer, although in this case, it's been confirmed that he has not said a word to anyone since his dad turned him in. Like, basically, he admitted it to his dad, and then he went completely silent after that. He's not said a word since that point.
See, I heard he was talking and then he lawyered up. And so he was talking for a period of time and then he stopped talking.
Okay, well that's counter to what I've heard, but you might have better sources than me.
I don't know. I mean, it's.
But either way, the system can only hold him in suicide watch for 30 days. After that, he's probably going to go into solitary for at least 60 days. And then after that, he'll be, again, assuming he survives any of this, but after that, the plan would be to put him into protected population, limited access in the beginning, and then see how he does in protected population with somebody this high up. Again, though, what Joe says is correct. Our entire system is infiltrated. It is better for the left if this guy is never put on trial. The trial would be very poor for them.
Yeah, he might reveal
suicidal because he didn't.
Too, right?
I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
I'm just saying he might reveal where he got some money, some support he got. They don't want him bringing that up.
Maybe somebody he talked to that really inspired him to take action.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's brave enough to kill himself, because most of these mass shooters and stuff we've seen lately, they kill themselves right afterwards. I think he thought he was going to get the Luigi Mangione, treatment, that there are going to be women lining up and people thinking that he's a great guy, and it did not play out that way.
I think, and I'm going to say this now, we've seen this happen so much. When new things happen that our government is currently incapable of happening, we have a tendency of creating new things in order to try and do that, the FBI being such an example. We currently have no way of keeping politically important prisoners alive inside of our existing prison system, which is designed for regular prison population incarceration. We need to create a specialized prison system for people who are politically vulnerable so that we can actually get these people through trials.
I don't disagree. You guys remember the days when the FBI was tasked to go after extreme radical right-wing groups, that we were the threat to the country? Boy, that didn't play out well, did it?
Well, that, from what I remember, the quote was that this is a problem it's a supply and demand issue. There's a way little supply and all kinds of demand for that, and it just didn't work out for
Yeah, listen, somebody says I read this in a certain book. Boy, there, it'd be hard to pick in here which of that book would be, considering the authors before you, to be honest.
I just put a link in the bottom of the private chat. So this is I haven't listened to Steve Bannon honestly once since this whole thing has happened. He generally goes way too dark for me on a lot of this kind of stuff.
Also moronic.
Well, he's got some good takes on some stuff, and other stuff I just don't listen to him because he just goes off the deep end. But I thought this was an interesting back and forth. I wanted to get your guys' take on it.
Tage, you've been on, is it 16 deployments, both as a Navy SEAL, then as a contractor, basically as a Navy SEAL that's off the government's payroll? 16 tours. You have been in the Middle East. You've been in other places, the other bad actors. You've met and fought in defense of your country as a patriot. Some pretty bad hombres, right? Pretty tough hombres.
Yes, sir. Yep.
How tough?
In Iraq, Afghanistan, in Africa.
And Africa, the Middle East, Iraq, Afghanistan, all of it. And can Antifa give as good as they get? Do they rack up there with what the Navy SEALs are deployed against in other parts of the world?
These guys will fold like a cheap knife, Steve. These are the generation that was raised where everybody's a winner, and if somebody hurts your feelings, you can go hide in the safe space, and then they've become Antifa. So, these are the guys they get you going, and then you punch them in the face, and then they want you to get arrested. These are those guys. They are weak, and also believe it or not, college professors are part of Antifa. So the college professors that are radicalizing these students and turning them in Antifa, they go out with them at night and put on the black mask and cause chaos. So no, if Trump designates them as a terrorist organization and unleashes the FBI.
He is somewhat right there. I'm sorry, but I have to do this. Antifa is a multi-tiered structure system. The street agitators are not the same people who are pipe hitters.
What does six deployments have to do with your ability to analyze the legal consequences?
I don't understand that either.
Yeah.
I'm not getting why it's a good conversation. I'm sorry.
I haven't actually listened to it. I saw the comments on it. I just wanted to see what the guys
look. Bannon has been uniquely terrible about almost all of this.
SEALs, yay! Or the Navy SEAL, they must be an expert. I give you Rob O'Neill, right?
All right, guys. Let's transition into the end game here for the show. The UK did something really kind of amazing, and I'll be honest with you, I was rather impressed. Because I thought this was going to be maybe 50, 100,000 people, but this has got to be 1 million people, if not more.
Crowd estimates based on security cameras and cameras like this said anywhere between 1 and 3 million.
3 million, right? That's what I heard. And then, of course, the Metropolitan Police says it was 110,000. Mm-hmm. That's more than 110,000 people on that fucking bridge right there.
Yeah, that's pretty legit.
Look how far it goes. It just keeps going.
Yeah. Didn't I see in a movie that building right there get blown up?
Probably. So this was the Unite the Kingdom rally. Tommy Robinson put this on, and I've been following Tommy Robinson for a long time, and yeah, this is one of those kind of guys who he had some fits and starts in how he got started, but this is a guy who has absolutely found the way. And this is just a guy who cares about his country, and it cares about his country remaining the country that he grew up in, not being changed materially by the people that are being imported by the political class to replace regular British people. It started out, I think he started out kind of getting known as an anti-Islam kind of
It turns
guy.
out he wasn't actually anti-Islam. He was pro-truth.
Right. He was I think he was just pro England, right?
Yeah.
And he always basically said, listen, if you come from Pakistan but you integrate and you become British, then you're British. You know, it's not about like where you come from. It's about what you do when you get there.
Yeah.
And the big target for him was the grooming gangs that were just absolutely plaguing England it's Central Asian and Pakistani. The Pakistani was the Muslim part. The Central Asian is mostly Indian, but they were all kind of represented broadly in these grooming gang rape cases that he got kind of famous for covering and advocating for. And he's just kind of gone just very broad from there. The thing that was most telling was the coverage of this march by like the BBC. Far right thugs. Yeah, there's a far right thug for you right there, guys. All of 6 years old, maybe. Unbelievable. And these are just regular people who are tired of the way the fucking country is going, that don't have a voice in the government anymore. And they're frustrated. And, you know, that's the real sign of the left, is to absolutely disagree that the people should have a voice in what the hell is happening in their country. Shut the fuck up, sit down, and just mind your fucking business is basically the message of the left in the United Kingdom. And oh, by the way, the Tories and the Labour are all leftists. And one of the things that I thought was really beautiful is how they really made this as a celebration of Charlie Kirk as well. Many references to Charlie Kirk in this, and I thought that was very appropriate. Guys, did you guys catch any of the footage or any of the speeches?
No, I did not.
I saw Elon talk.
Yeah, I saw Elon
only
speech,
clips of it.
I saw some Tommy Robinson speaking, and then there was some American, what's her name? Hispanic Congress lady. She was there and spoke. She's pretty.
Oh.
She's.
You're
Anyway,
talking about
so
the hyper base one that makes the shotgun.
Yeah.
Right?
What's her name?
Del Rey, is that the one, or is somebody else?
No, it's not her. It's not Anna Paula Luna either.
Who's not Hispanic?
Oh, well.
Yeah, I know.
So, you might be surprised to learn her real last name.
Is it Scheinbaum?
It's very Scheinbaum. That ilk, by the way.
Why does this keep happening?
from the Guadalajara Scheinbaums.
Yes.
Very old family. Very old.
Yeah, anyway,
well,
Blaine,
they came over with. Well, hold on. They came over with the conquistadors, don't you know? They were the financiers.
Feyerhofer.
Blaine, what's your take on the rather wholesome response of the British people?
They need to get more violent. I'm sorry, this isn't working. If they didn't change anything, honestly, it was a great display. It definitely shows what the thinking of the British people are, but nothing's changed. It's not like they said, oh my God, we saw these numbers and we now realize what we've been doing is so wrong and we're going to do change to it. No, they're continuing ahead with their policy. So this isn't working and it will not work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it works in one way. There is one thing this does, which is they're so far. I agree with you, Blaine. You're saying like you actually have to take actions that actually stop the thing you need to stop, and I'm fully with you. But I will say that I think Britain's further down the we're ready to fight back scale than we are, and I think that this does the big part of letting people know they're not alone. because I bet in Britain, even more than here, where you're not even allowed to talk on social media, they do feel far more alone than we do.
Well, I think there's a good reason for this. I love good protests. I live outside DC. There isn't a day that goes by that we don't have 1 or 2 protests going on for something in our nation's capital every freaking day. And you know what? They don't change a thing.
Well, I guess for people in England, the most important thing is to show because I think this is so oppressive in British culture that, hey, if you wave the Union Jack, you're a racist or whatever, right? And that you could actually get arrested for posting things online there, unlike here. So I think there's a lot of tendency for people to shut up, keep their head down, and just not kind of make any waves, right? And so for somebody, you got your truck driver who just doesn't kind of get active. Maybe he's active on social media, but that's about it. And getting out there in the real world and seeing people that actually believe the same stuff. I mean, Joe, you know how it is from the classes and things like that. Just meeting people finally who are into the same thing that you are and believe the same thing that you believe, psychologically really does something for you. To be able to weather the storm. And I think this is good for morale. That being said, that's about it. I don't know that they're going to be able to ever vote their way out of this, because you can't vote your way out of it here in America.
Yeah. And T, you made a comment that it's good to see the police didn't enforce a ban on it. Well, that's not true. The police attempted to enforce a ban on this protest, and it did not go very well. So then they stopped enforcing the ban on the protest.
Yeah.
The police had a very rough go of it in the beginning when they tried to stop the march. So,
well, and they also, I will say, allowed, and this didn't really matter because it ended up being like roughly 5,000 people versus the millions, but they did try to schedule a counter protest at the exact same time and then try and cause those 2 marches to intersect. So there was a bit of violence, but it was, as you might imagine, when millions of people are trying to do something and a couple thousand pussies are trying to stop them, it did not take very long for that situation to get sorted out.
I saw a post somebody put.
It kills the lie that they're a fringe minority. That was not a minority. Those people in that town.
And I saw somebody in our chat posted, do you think the Vietnam protests brought an end to the war? I definitely think they did, but it was a lot different then because you had the media on the side of the protesters. You do not have that in the UK. The mainstream media in the UK is very much leftist, just like it is here in the United States.
Yeah.
And they're supporting the government's actions. So, it was, I think one of the big turning points was Walter Cronkite going, this is an unwinnable war. That really shook America.
Yeah.
And you do not have a Walter Cronkite in this mix right now.
That's a really good point.
I see,
guys.
I see
Anything
an argument
else
going on? Yeah. I've got one I want to say about this, and this is kind of
go
a
ahead.
separate thing. Okay. Well, maybe not, because they are talking about over there. But someone's like, "Oh, Muslims aren't going to attack the rallies." My friend, did you just see that they literally arrested 2 Muslims in Salt Lake City for planting an explosive device under a Fox News van that was reporting on the Charlie Kirk murder?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the show. That that's just crazy, and no media is really covering it. Right, the story's just kind of like went by the wayside because it doesn't meet the narrative. But this is one of 2 things. It's Islamic terrorists taking advantage of the chaos and trying to seep in there, or it's a state level actor, Iran, sending a couple of their agents to sow further discord.
Or it could be the cartels.
Yeah.
Never rule out the fact that we
Cartels
have just
are really usually run by dudes named Abdul and Adib.
I know, but
yeah.
I'm telling you, man, the cartel violence is coming, guys.
Oh, absolutely. But I just think this is more of a state level act of violence than a cartel. The cartels would use a machine gun and shoot up a shopping mall. which I spent most of my day in a shopping mall yesterday. I was on high alert, especially since I was in a area within reach of Tren de Aragua. So,
gentlemen, anything else we need to talk about in this? It's quarter after the second hour, so I think it's time to wrap it up. I'll go around the horn. Just first, I'd like to say on Wednesday, I think we'll get back to the normal format rather than unless something crazy happens, and then we'll address that as it happens. But we will look. I probably will still talk about this stuff because new developments and things will happen. Hopefully, we'll have new content to talk about with this. But we'll get back to the odds and ends and the second segment about a different topic for Wednesday. At least that's the plan. We'll go around the horn. Final thoughts heading into the week, guys. Joe?
I think what you're going to find out is that the left is certainly not going to dial back the rhetoric, and you're going to see a doubling down. You're going to see another violent act this week by a leftist. It's just the way that it's going to go. Or potentially a retaliation from someone on the right, but I think that's less likely than further leftist violence. So be watching for that. If you guys were paying attention over the weekend, I did a lot more videos. I did a video on the Shield mongoose knife, and I did a video on locals for supporters about using ATVs as dragoons in the coming troubles. Blaine did quite a story where they used snowmobiles in his, so I thought that that was a great idea, and I applied it to the ATV thing. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to do another one on the standard range card, a favorite of almost all of us on the show, and how it can actually be a better thing for civilian self-defense. We're going to talk about that. It's time to actually up your training, get out, go to a class if you can while there's still time and there's still availability to travel. Learn some skills. Take the brush beater RTO course so you can stay in touch with people. Take the brush beater scout and recce. Take my field craft and community security. Get out and learn while you have the ability.
Yeah. Blaine?
I read a great book this weekend called The Quill and the Sword. I recommend it for everybody out there.
I have that book on my desk. I got to finish that. Yeah.
I went through it. I got to tell you, it's one of the best books on the Second Amendment I've read in a long time. Right up there with Larry Correia's book on Second Amendment. Joe's right. One of the tenets in that book is you have to train and keep your skills up. It's not about, gee, I bought a gun, went out, fired 100 rounds. I now know how to use my gun. No, you need to be regularly going out and shooting. You need to keep those skills up. And the second part of that book I thought was amazing. Really went through when should you draw your gun and use it. And it's written by a lawyer with real life examples in there. And I didn't write the book. My publisher sent me a copy of it just pro bono and didn't even ask me for a review. It's a short book. I read it in 2 hours, but if you're somebody who owns a gun, it'll encourage you to buy Joe's books. It'll encourage you to take Joe's classes and brush beaters classes because you need to keep your skills up if you're going to be a professional warrior. And we are entering the stage now where professional warriors are going to be needed.
Watcher?
Yeah. Be smart. Be wise. Call for no illegal action. But organization is strength. And if you have time, which I know a lot of you in our chat are retired, if you have time and the independent ability to support yourself without needing to spend that time making money, there is a dire call for you. Many places could use your aid in tracking down these people, documenting their activity, tying them to their real-life identities, tying their real-life identities to their jobs, and then sending their jobs information about their activities. I highly encourage you to get involved with any of these groups. There are many of them. And my second plea is just a quick one. I've already got a couple of these personally, which is E1 through E5s. Do you have a terrible, awful person on your base that's awful to deal with, a civilian contractor, a staff NCO, an NCO, Literally anybody. It could be a corporal, like all the way down the chain, who is just utterly awful to deal with and has made your life a living hell. Did you get sent to extra white privilege camps and any of that? Does your leader, that is a problem person, express leftist views publicly? Hey, record that shit. Record that shit and get it sent in immediately. If you don't want to send that in yourself because you're afraid you're going to get scooped up as part of some kind of counter investigation, send it to me. I will 100% keep the faith. I'm going to set up a Telegram channel so you can submit that in an encrypted way as well. We've already got a couple of them. I'm telling you guys, this is it. This is a golden opportunity to purge the subversives from our ranks before what comes next. And believe me, that is the absolutely required first step. So get on it.
All right, I got a couple super chats here I want to get through. Lance Corporal Veteran for $5. Mike Shelby, a forward observer, connecting online chat groups to fake alerts and some communications prior to the recent mass shooters. Yeah, apparently they're also going back and talking to the guy who asked the question that got essentially that Charlie was answering about the trans shooters and things like that. So I think there's a lot of developments going on with this, and we'll see some stuff break out. And we'll probably end up talking about that on Wednesday. Let's see. T-Rex and Crypto Travels for $4.99. Thank you again. When I saw that, I thought, is this France? He's talking about the UK footage. Is this France? The Brits usually aren't the ones to show up like this. Good on them. Yeah, 100%. I think this is good. At least for the morale, right? And maybe morale is the first thing you gotta bump up there before you can kind of move to the next stage, which is actually do things that'll make their country better. Guy Remecton sends $2. Thank you, brother. Appreciate your support. No message. Random PNW Guy 84 over on Rumbles for $10 says, Watcher, can you run a class on how to track an internet identity to a real life one like you're calling for?
Oh, sure, but I mean, if you want to, but that's one of those things it's very easy to do.
No, Washer, you have to let people believe it's a very particular set of skills I've acquired over a long career.
Well, in fact, this is should be encouraging. These are not hard, these are things that you could self-educate on, really. But I'll think about how to teach a class on it or something, but I'd say right now, just go to some bitch I know. That's L. She's amazing, and she does this constantly, and every time she does it, she exposes every single step she took along the way so that you can repeat it. But it mostly has to do with looking up their usernames. Literally, you're looking at the information they gave out yourselves and then tying it to other accounts and then figuring out on which of those other accounts they got lazy about OBSEC, because it always happens.
Or you can just be like me and put your real name out there as your or Joe Dooley or Blaine Pardo.
I mean, yeah, kind of how we
roll. The difference with Joe and I is we're not cowards,
right?
Well,
all
right,
sort of.
All right, let's
Blaine, we got to get you at an event. I'm just saying.
If it's something I've got to do, I got to do it months in advance.
Listen, you can drive. You own a vehicle. I've seen it. You
want me to drive? You want me to drive to Montana?
No. If you would stop interrupting me for 30 seconds, you could drive to North Carolina, the North Carolina-Virginia border, not even all the way into North Carolina, and hang out with us at Matt's here in a few weeks. So,
send me some stuff, will you?
You might get some ideas for the Blue Dawn book on how to train and organize a guerrilla fighting force.
Well, the tortilla militia does make an appearance, by the way.
Oh yeah,
yeah, well, they're in the next book.
What if I arrange for the tortilla militia to come up there and meet you, the head of the tortilla militia, during that same thing? I'm just saying, a lot of members of this chat will be at Matt's that week. I'll be at Matt's that week. It's going to be fun.
I will be wishing that I'm at Mass that week, but I will not be.
I may pop down. I gotta see it. I may pop down for a day. Send me some stuff on, will you, Joe?
I'll send you some stuff on that and on Mountain Readiness. A lot of the guys are going to Mountain Readiness as well. That's right on I-77, so that's not far for you.
All right.
All right, gentlemen. I think that's all the super. Oh, wait a second. Random POW guy had another one a while back for $2. Same with Dan Bongino. I think he had good intentions and got rolled. How did these blackmails get dealt with? Yeah, I don't know. I trust Dan Bongino a lot more than I trust Cash Patel at this point, though. I think that is it. There we go.
Did you see Bongino on the news this morning?
No.
This job has aged him.
Hey,
I
bet.
bet.
Will do that to you. Selling your soul will put the years on quick.
Yeah, he's not kidding. Here, I've got it, so might as well.
Multiple warning signs. You just laid out some of them. There were people in his network, friends and family.
That man has. Holy shit. Is he like his 40s?
I don't think he's in his 50s.
Oh, okay.
All right, guys. That's all I got. Where's that coming through?
I think he accidentally hit it twice.
Okay. All right. That's all I have for the show today. Thank you guys for being here.
Just popped up.
Say again? Oh, did we get another? Hunter for $2. Blaine, the drive isn't that bad to Montana. I've done it twice now. Blaine, there's a very nice airport just south of.
There's an even nicer one just north where you're greeted by a bear as you get off the plane. At, Glacier International.
Is that Kalispell?
Yeah. I stood there, so as you come off of the escalator, the doors open and there's a bear there. And I was standing there when my wife got off a plane. I'm like, Charlie and I came out here to greet you because Charlie the bear on our property. She was like, you killed Charlie and put him in the airport. I'm like, yes.
All right. If you guys haven't done it already, please like this channel. Subscribe.
Look at that. You got book sales guaranteed. Be prepared says he'll buy books and sign them from you if you come down to Matt's.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And Be Prepared will be there in full Rhodesian regalia, right down to the FAL rifle. So, good times.
We're all Rhodesian, Blaine. Just remember that.
I understand.
See how I commit you to things, Chris, because I already know what you're going to be wearing. I mean, it's just that simple.
I think it's going to make people's minds blow when they find out like 15 people knew about this thing before the guy shot Charlie. So
that's going to actually make things worse in America, right? It's going to prove that there is a leftist insurgency going on.
That's exactly right.
Well,
all right.
If only there were signs beforehand.
Yeah. Death before degeneracy. Yes. Exactly right. All right, guys. That's all I got. Thanks for being here. Blaine, thank you. Joe, thank you. Watcher, as always, I appreciate you guys. Chat, you guys were killing it. Thanks for the very generous super chats today. Yeah, definitely very humbling when you guys monetarily support the channel because I know you don't have to. You got a lot of other things you could be doing with that money, and you send it to us, so we thank you. All right. Thank you. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Let people know you're getting good stuff over here on the Council on Future Conflicts. And as always, stay safe.